Hey everybody, it's Pixie Peep here. That's it. Let's get right into it. Last part of the series. Don't really need to explain why. 4-part series usually, if the character has a strong quirk, which Deku does. This for after Deku used the glass shard from Overhaul. Me who just remember that the Overhaul arc is before the All for One arc. I think so. Don't fact check me on that. I don't know. If I'm correct on the timeline, good for me. If I'm not, let's just say it happened before. Anyways, Deku decides to get himself a sword. It's a pretty nice sword, just basic sword. Puts it in the sheath on his back. Now his strip is complete. For his hero costume. He'll make some more alterations, but still, this is probably the best it's gonna get for a while. So, Deku is going to his first camping trip, because he really hasn't gone on any. If you don't know what that means they're going to the forest arc. So, Deku gets onto the bus, sits next to Ochako, and they speak for a bit. Then they get off the cliff. Deku and Ochako start to think what's going on, and then they both fall off the cliff. Then Deku just teleports every single person in Class 1A, including himself. Yes, Deku has gone through some character development, and now he can teleport himself. And then bada bing, bada boom. They got there before Aizawa did. So they start training early. And Deku. Let's just say Deku, already having pretty good combat skill, needs to learn how to open portals quicker, because he has to focus on portals. So Deku decides to train that. And then he even learns like a noob Cybot move where he jumps through a portal, then makes multiple portals to build up speed and fire out and hit him with a freaking hard punch. Or so freaking like a cinematic Shoryuken. You know, like in the new Street Fighter game, where in Ryu's Ultimate, where he punches you super hard, it makes a cutscene that hard. He uses it against a tree. That's how I figured it out. After a bit, they have dinner, and next day, they didn't really meet Koda, because, you know. But Deku doesn't ask, who the kid who was eating in the corner with the big lady man cat. I don't know. The trans cat. I don't know. The guy trans cat. It's a girl now, but you know what I mean. Cross-dressing cat. So Deku, after asking, gets an answer. She says his name is Koda and his parents died a long time ago. Of course, that's not actually how the conversation went. It's just I'm not good at writing character conversations. It usually just sounds like robotic, so I don't want to bother you guys with that. Anyways, later that day, this a day after Deku learned the teleportation ability. Then afterwards, Deku, after having fun, he decides to go check up on Koda, because Koda's caretakers told him that he usually goes up to a cliff. So Deku goes up there with the, Curry, seeing if Koda's alright. That is until a massive fist goes barreling towards Koda. Then Deku saves him with a teleportation, cutting the guy's arm off, whoever it was. It was muscular, of course. Him bleeding out from his arm, screaming, and then he makes a muscle fiber arm. Going to punch Deku, but Deku just makes a bigger portal, which makes Muscular trip through it and get his entire body cut in half, and that kills Muscular. And Deku grabs Koda, they jump off the cliff, Deku makes a portal, saving themselves, saving them, saving him and Koda. He lands hard, but Koda's fine. Gives in to Aizawa, then Deku stops Stain from hitting his friend, actually takes that knife and sneaks it into his pocket, just in case. So eventually he catches up with Tokoyami, and then eventually he uses a portal to open a tinier portal, so only the knife can go through. So he can poke Tokoyami with the knife, so he can regain control. So Tokoyami and Dark Shadow get out of the battle, but they're not killing people now. Now Compress is running away with Bakugo. Of course, Deku doesn't know that, but he's not just gonna let a villain get away. So he very hardly throws a knife through a portal. Which a portal spawns in front of Compress, so Compress dodges the portal. But the portal was opened backwards, so a knife jabs into Compress's back. So he gets paralyzed. He gets momentarily paralyzed. Then Deku kicks him in the face with a portal. He did the portal jump and used a kick, which makes Compress bounce off the ground. Luckily not on the knife. So Deku takes the knife and grabs Compress by the throat and is preparing to threaten him with murder. And then Compress starts spewing out goop and disappears with Baku. And with Deku as well, because he was too close to him. So Deku just immediately slit Compress's throat while they were going through the portal. He was not bluffing. That makes Baku pop out of nowhere, out of Compress's pocket. Actually, it makes Compress's head explode because they're in his mouth. Just say Compress got fucked up in this timeline. And then they're face to face with Shigaraki, Korogiri, and that's it. And then Deku just immediately cuts Shigaraki's head off. Because Shigaraki tried to jump over the counter, but he opened a portal above Shigaraki, which then he closes it immediately, cutting his head off. Then it landed onto Korogiri's face, which made him I was straight dying. But, anyways. Deku. Now. Who discombobulated Korogiri with Shigaraki's head. Korogiri then goes unconscious. By that, I mean he just doesn't want to fight anymore. Then, overall, All for One shows up, but Deku just makes a portal for Bakugo from him to escape. Bakugo escapes into the city, and then All for One blows up the building, but Deku makes a big portal before that to block the explosion. Which saves Deku, but that's it. But also kills Korogiri this time. This time it was more devious. So then All Might shows up eventually after Deku evades and portals most of All for One's attacks. So the fight begins and All Might's on the losing side until he gets this undying spirit and starts restoring All for One again. But All for One ain't gonna take this, so he starts beating in All Might, which he's actually doing bloodily. Like, All for One is bleeding out the mouth and nose. Basically, like a character who definitely looks like they're about to die. But of course, Deku doesn't want this. So, he just decides he's just gonna just kill All for One. So, he starts making a massive portal. Like, this portal is big. Not in, not in, not in size, but in distance. So he opens a human-sized portal, which confuses All for One. So he looks over to it after pummeling All Might. He's All Might's unconscious, if you're wondering, until Deku makes a different portal behind All for One. So All for One backs up, assuming that portal was distracting, but actually it was supposed to get All for One through the portal by slanting the portal over All for One and flipping it, then closing it, which sadly severs All Might's arm, but he'll live. So All for One floats through space for a second, until he sees the sun. Yeah, Deku had to concentrate. Like, his hands are like bleeding. I don't know, it's a side effect of his quirk. If he uses it for a very far distant thing, his hands will start bleeding all like out of his pores. So All for One tries to fly away, but he just starts spinning, and then he starts melting, and then All for One just incinerates himself. Not himself, but the sun incinerates him. Which, All for One's dead. Sucks for him. Sucks for the fact that he's a mass genocider and is probably racist. So we hate him. We should hate him. I hope no one likes him. Well, All for One died. And Chigaraki's also dead, and Korigiri's also dead. The doctor's probably caught later. Well, I guess that's the end of this series. Like, subscribe, hit the post notification bell. You know what those do. Peace out, boys. Love y'all.